The aqueduct of Segovia was built during the second half of the 1st century AD, under the rule of the Roman Empire, and supplied water from the Faro River to the city into the 20th century. The remaining portion of the structure stands 28.5 meters tall at its maximum height and nearly 6 additional meters deep in the main section. Along 14 kilometers of rolling landscape, the aqueduct adjusts to the contours of the valley, hills, and city and creates a sense of grandeur and monumentality. The pillars and arches of its tall, two-story arcades are made of solid blocks of stone fit closely together, together with little or no mortar, and the lower arches alternate in height according to the structure's adaptation to the contours of the land. Detrimental reconstruction occurred in the 15th and 16th centuries, and not until the 1970s and 1992 was there urgent conservation intervention. The aqueduct was inscribed on the World Heritage List in 1985 and stands prominently in the urban landscape of Segovia. The Aqueduct of Segovia remains one of the most intact Roman aqueducts in Europe. The Aqueduct of Segovia was placed on the 2006 World Monuments Watch, drawing international attention to the overall condition of the structure. Although the aqueduct remains intact, there was no comprehensive management plan or funding to address the erosion of the stones, the increase of vibrations and pollution from cars, and heavy vegetation. The municipality of Segovia proposed a comprehensive conservation project at the aqueduct that not only focused on the entire structure, but also its context and surrounding environment. WMF Spain brought together the Ministry of Culture, the regional government of Castilla y León, and other local institutions to collaborate to implement the project. In February 2006, an initial meeting was held in Segovia to discuss the implementation of the conservation plan and how best to protect the integrity of the hydraulic works and their surroundings.
Toledo is one of the oldest and most unique cities in Spain. The former Spanish capital before Madrid, this city has made an important contribution to Spain's history and heritage. Here, you'll find mosques opposite Catholic chapels, as well as some irresistibly Instagrammable synagogues. Toledo is also known for its traditional crafts, including Damascene metalwork, antique-inspired swords, and handmade marzipan sweet almond candies. However, the most famous artworks found in Toledo are the masterpieces by El Greco displayed throughout the city's churches and convents, as well as at El Greco Museum. Everything in Toledo is within walking distance, which makes it easy to discover most of the city. The historic center is small and dense, so you will have the best experience of the city by exploring it on foot. Walking tours are one of my favorite ways to discover a new city. You can cover Toledo relatively easily on foot. Most places of interest are close to one another, though steep streets and cobblestones can take their toll. The energy in downtown Toledo is homegrown, with a historic art community, 2 professional sports teams, 3 million annual visitors, 2,500 residential units. Uzine's opportunities big and small and over 70 restaurants. This is where people who love the glass city come to live, work, and play. The Primatial Cathedral of St. Mary of Toledo, otherwise known as Toledo Cathedral, is a Roman Catholic church in Toledo, Spain. It is the seat of the Metropolitan Archdiocese of Toledo. Wikipedia. Some art historians believe El Greco therefore invented the genre of cityscape, making View of Toledo an example for all who have painted in this subject since El Greco's time and for all those who ever will. The painting is also so admired and famous because of its beauty. Toledo becomes the means through which the artist expresses an interior psychological state and perhaps a view about the nature of man's relationship with the divine, using typically.
This is Toledo.
Aranjuez is a town on the river Tagus in central Spain, south of Madrid. Its Renaissance, French-influenced royal palace has an elaborate facade and a lavishly decorated interior, including a porcelain room. On the grounds, by the river, are ornamental gardens like the Jardin de la Isla.
Aranjuez has always been an attractive city for tourists with its royal palace, the gardens, the Tagus River, and the landscapes. This city was designated as a World Heritage Cultural Landscape by UNESCO, and since then, tourism has kept on increasing. The Royal Palace of Aranjuez has been the country residence par excellence of the Spanish kings and queens. This tour is a good option to enjoy Aranjuez and its gardens from Madrid. Royal Palace can be booked at the palace, but they are only in Spanish language. The Jardin del Principe Garden of the Prince has great walks and a small but interesting 19th century romantic garden. Aranjuez had path lined. The most popular one is perhaps the Garden of Pico Tajo, right at the confluence of the Tajo and the Jarama. However, the favorite gardens. The Aranjuez cultural landscape is an entity of complex relationships between nature and human activity, between sinuous watercourses and geometric landscape design, between the rural and the urban, between forest landscape and the delicately modulated architecture of its palatial buildings.